I'm not wearing the same outfit as last week's video. This wasn't written and filmed on the same day and then speedily pushed through so I don't completely fall off the train of relevance. No one is accusing me of anything. Why am I getting so defensive? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Neverland Book Club. Today we are discussing more books Today we are discussing more books I've been reading lately because that's just what we do here. That's basically all we do here. But I'd like to do more. But it seems like these videos do better than others, so I'm just gonna keep making them regardless. Have I posted any shorts by the time this goes up? How have they been going? Let me know. I guess I'll find out when you do. I'd like to thank everyone who returned to the channel after I took a month-long break. Thank you for being here, thank you for supporting this little channel, and thank you for your continuous interactions in the comments and on other social media, whatever that may be. If you enjoy what we do here, think about subscribing. It's free. And it makes the little dopamine receptors in my brain go wee consensually. Let's dive in, shall we? I started off February looking like this. I pushed it off way too long and ended up having to get my wisdom teeth removed. I don't remember anything between going to sleep in the dentist chair and waking up in my own bed at home. But apparently I was FaceTiming my family, recording myself on my phone, sending photos of myself to people, and asking for shredded chicken. For some reason. If this is what it's like being drunk, I've wasted my 20s. The day before I headed in for surgery, I wanted something quick and easy to read. Oh, I forgot to include that.
You should do drunk book reviews.
Oh my god. I'm sure that exists.
So?
But if I don't know. Do you think that's what I would be like drunk?
Yes.
Comment below if you want to see drunk book reviews. Of a drunk me just reviewing a book. The day before I headed in for surgery, I wanted something quick and easy to read just to get my mind off of the anxiety. Something I could start and finish in one go to get a sense of accomplishment before I knew I was going to be rendered useless for a few days. I chose Play It As It Lays by Joan Didion. I did read this in one sitting. From start to finish, I didn't put it down, and it was an emotional roller coaster I was not ready for. Going in, I didn't know what this book was going to be about. I had heard good things about Didion, and upon a quick trip to Barnes & Noble, found her sitting patiently and decided to pick it up. What got me, more than the praise I've heard online for the author, was this photo of her in the back. Look at that. I'll find it online and put it up. But she's just with her cigarette. She's just so cool. Don't smoke, kids, but damn. Copyright 1970.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so that's fine for the time. The book has a very Evelyn Hugo feel. It mimics that sense of knowing someone on a personal level that you've actually never met before. The chapters are no more than a few pages each while telling the story of a woman's journey through life in the spotlight. It can sometimes feel like a stretch to feel bad for celebrities when their lives seem so perfect based on what we see, but books like this remind us that people are people and kindness is kindness. I recommend this as a breakfast read, something to pick up, finish, and put down in one go. There are some harsh themes, so check the warnings before reading, but nonetheless, I think this is a story worth reading. And it's so minimalistically, beautifully told. 3.5 stars. Once I recovered after a day or so, and the drugs wore off and the pain set in, I started reading Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Based on what I've seen online, people's opinions of this book can be pretty polarizing. Either you love it or you hate it, and I think that goes for a lot of Colleen Hoover's books. This was quick and simple and formulaic in its approach. With Hoover, we can expect presented love interests that are not endgame, with a two-timeline method of storytelling, at least based on the 3 I've read so far. They all fit this criteria. With this title, there's a slight element of taboo, which I appreciated? I think, maybe? Appreciated might be too strong a word. I didn't hate it, as some people have. I didn't think it was necessary for the story, but it didn't take away anything either. It was okay. The book overall was okay. I didn't cry. I didn't think about it too much after reading. It had a solid conclusion where all of our characters reached the sense of closure they needed to move on with their lives, and it was painful at times, but if you enjoy Colleen Hoover and her storytelling, just read Verity. It's still my favorite of hers. For Ugly Love, though, 2.5 stars. A girl that I work with, this was the first book she read, and she loved it. She kept asking me, have you read Ugly Love yet? Did you cry? I was like, no, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. Next, we have one of the more annoying books I've read this year, Bunny by Mona Awad. This book has been up and down Book Talk, Bookstagram, BookTube, Book Twitter, Book Reddit, all the book social media subcategories where we nerds like to congregate. This book is advertised on social media as, if you like the 1980s classic Heathers starring Winona Ryder, you'll love Bunny. First of all, how dare you? That film is a masterpiece. Winona is a masterpiece. This book is not. It's not terrible either, though. It just wasn't it for me. A group of female writers who all refer to themselves as Bunny try and lure our main character to join their cult. The dialogue is annoying on purpose, the characters are annoying on purpose, the story is annoying, you guessed it, on purpose, I think. And I'll tell you, it's no surprise I was annoyed. And I'm guessing that was on purpose. The book felt like it was trying to be a couple different things at the same time, including Mean Girls. I was getting the whole, you can't sit with us, and my God, why are you so obsessed with me? And she doesn't even go here vibes the whole time. Pablo is lost. But it was also a horror, gory, psychological thriller, mystery, culty, very slightly academic, the list goes on. It didn't take up too much time, but I was also on painkillers, so it wasn't so bad. 2.5 stars. There was a little twist towards the end. I was like, okay, that's different. But it was all right. Now for a bit of spice. Radiant Sin by Katie Robert, the 4th book in the Dark Olympus series and by far my least favorite. I have opinions. For being a smutty book, there wasn't enough smut for my taste. The kink elements we see in the previous 3 books aren't all that present in this one, and it revolves around an Agatha Christie-esque plot with a party and an attempted murder mystery, something that is, regrettably, being overdone recently. Don't get me wrong, I love a bit of Agatha Christie. I just don't know where this theme came from all of a sudden, where everyone's been adopting this method of storytelling, and none of it is being executed all that well, in my opinion. It's still fun, but it's like, can this be done in a modern way and, well, I don't know. But as far as this book goes in comparison to its predecessors, I give it a 2.7. For what it is, it's all right. The writing is not groundbreaking, the story is not unique or all that original, and the smut wasn't kinky enough to hold up to something like the first Neon Gods book or Wicked Beauty, which is my personal favorite in the series so far. Next, we have a Japanese novel with a never-before-heard-of concept, or at least I had never heard of anything like it before. The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa, translated by Stephen Snyder in 1994. This book was weird. It's like nothing I've ever read before and put my mind in a constant state of paranoia. The concept of this novel revolves around the idea of our memories being collectively regulated by the government. Say we wake up one morning as a society and every trace of shoes is simply gone. We can't remember them, they never existed. Now try and conceive that notion, but with light bulbs, toothbrushes, bedsheets, computers, clothes, your own face. Yeah. At first, I even laughed at the title, like, what are you, the memory police? But no, the book is no laughing matter. It takes a stance on social justice in the name of individuality, and is quite a psychological ride. 3.5 stars. My only gripe is that the main character is a writer. Of course. Now let's talk about the one nonfiction book I picked up. I'm starting to appreciate nonfiction more and more, and so far I've read at least one nonfiction book every month for the past few months. And I'm trying to keep it up. I didn't do it on purpose. This past month, I read, I don't even like saying this title out loud. When I hear people say it, it's like, ooh, I don't like that sentence. But, you know, because I love my mom. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I grew up watching some Nickelodeon shows and a lot of Cartoon Network shows. Adventure Time, SpongeBob, Hey Arnold, and one of the greatest shows ever made in the history of mankind, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Don't fight me on that, I'll win. But I didn't watch too much iCarly. I saw it once in a while, but never really got into it the same way I did with other animated shows. I'm grateful for the parents I had growing up, and I feel so much empathy for individuals like Jeanette that did the very best they could with the cards they were dealt. This book is in no way a pity party or a cheap attention grab. It didn't feel that way. Anyway, at least. I listened to it, and McCurdy narrated herself. Hearing her talk about her childhood and her mother felt like I was listening to a friend come out to me about her darkest times. I felt a deep sense of compassion and understanding for her, and am a little proud of what she was able to accomplish despite the characters dictating her life. This book is a powerful mirror that makes you look at your own life through the eyes of your child self, and reflect on the people that may have shaped you into the adult you are today. 4 stars. Part of me wants to go back and watch iCarly, and part of me wants to boycott it for her sake, but yeah.
It's a reboot, isn't it?
She quit acting, so she didn't want to do the reboot. Her and the other main girl, Miranda Cosgrove, they're like legitimate friends in real life. And when I guess she called her, telling her they were going to do a reboot, she said, I knew you'd say no, but I thought I'd ask you anyway, just out of a courtesy. Like, they're friends. It's nice. Okay, and for the last book I read last month, and I read it just in time for the new series release, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This felt like a hug. I read this in bed while the Los Angeles skies were having a temper tantrum of the decade outside. I read this with the sound of rain and hail and wind at my windows, but despite hearing all those things, I also heard the music. I heard the voices of Daisy Jones and Billy Doon. I heard the piano riffs and guitar solos and lyrics sounding off in my head, and I had such an absolute blast reading this. It took me a long time to finally pick this one up. I had bought it beginning to middle of last year, and it had been waiting on my shelf ever since. When I saw Amazon was going to release an adaptation, I speed read it. Speed read it? Speed read. Speed.
You want to see some speed?
You want to see some speed? I speed read it that weekend, and it comes out tomorrow. I'm so excited. I've said it before, Reid has an unmatched talent of making fictitious famous people feel incredibly real and beautifully human. The format of this book was also something I had never experienced. We've all heard of dual perspective narratives, but this takes that to another step entirely. This is basically a documentary in your mind with the way the narrative flows from one character to another. Accounts of the same night are sometimes told from one perspective, then another. Through this lens, we see what those characters may have taken away from a scene, their side of the story, their interpretation of the events. And it is our job as the reader to determine what the truth might be. On just one page, you're reading through a continuous scene from the perspective of sometimes 5 or more different characters, and not once is it difficult to follow. This does not hinder the storytelling in the slightest. If anything, I believe this was the only way this story should have been told. Could have been told. The whole concept of telling the story of a rock and roll band in the 70s is challenging enough. Reid was able to take that idea and allow every one of the band members to be heard, which is something we don't traditionally see. I love this book so much, and by the time this video goes up, I may have even finished the Amazon series. But as for filming it, it's tomorrow, and I can't wait. I can't wait. 4 stars. Again, it was no Evelyn Hugo, but it was beautiful nonetheless. This was also Reid's first attempt at writing song lyrics, and you know what? I'd listen to anything she writes as well. Also, there's a word for the type of book this is, and I forget what it's called.
Novel?
No. Oral history format. It's written in oral history format. That's the word. It's pretty cool. Oh my god. All right, those are all the books I read in February. Right now, I am currently reading Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I just picked up the prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree, A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. Look at this big boy. I hope to finish reading these 2 books at least, and much more, and discuss them at length with you in the wrap-up video for this month, next month. At the end. If you're not subscribed already, please be sure to do so and click that bell to be notified when both long-form and short videos go live. Today's shout out goes to Danielle Hinton. This channel has been the most fun I've had on the internet, so it hasn't felt like a chore so far, but I intend to keep it that way, and I intend to keep it that way. That's why I might disappear for a month here and there, but I always come back with more than enough opinions to share, so thank you for being here. All right, I'm off to go figure out how YouTube Shorts works because apparently that is the future of this platform. And I have to get with the times. Stay lost. Keep reading. Goodbye.